Mohamed Salah, the best player in the league,
the best player in the world.
The best player ever to play a season of football in the Premier League in terms of goals and assists. And I know Shearer and I know Andy Cole both had 47 as well, but it wasn't in a 38-game season. So I think that needs to be asterisked next to those two players, but not Mo's.
Yeah.
I will be honest, Andy, I thought he was done last season.
Oh, okay.
I thought that Mo Salah that came back from AFCON was what we had. I thought we had more of that to, in inverted commas, look forward to. And I am stunned to be proven completely wrong because, yeah, unreal.
I think Salah's always had this, apart from his first season, where he quite literally does just score every week, every time. He has always had a couple of months where you sort of think, what's going on with Salah here? You know, I think back to the first season after COVID, where first 6 months of the year he's the best player in the world, and this is still at Messi and Ronaldo at a relative peak. Thought he's the best player in the world for those 6 months, and then the next 6 months was, I mean, there might have been an AFCON then as well. In fact, I'm fairly certain there was. He barely scores a goal. You know, last year, the same thing. Starts the season really well, drops off. Even this year, to be fair, as much as his rating is going to reflect the best I've given out so far, you know, the last couple of months of the season where he basically needs one more goal or assist, he does drop off slightly. And we do have to say that. And that's, you know, of course he is, because literally no player plays well 38 games a season, but he does drop off slightly. I think the thing with Salah is when he's not in form, sort of the opposite to Nunez, or from what we've known of Nunez prior to maybe the last 6 months, he actually is on the periphery a little bit and not as involved. That said, the first 9 months of the season are just sensational. And the thing I always say about Salah is how adaptable he is. That first season he comes in, he's obviously got loads of pace, and he's always scoring that Iron Robin goal of taking it in the left foot and curling into the top corner. Then teams get onto that, so his right foot becomes a lot better, and you can see him going the other way, and he's mixing it up. And then the legs go a little bit last couple of years, and he's just become the best playmaker in the world. And there's plenty of one-season wonders. There's plenty of players who come in and do so well before everyone gets the video and everyone works out how to play them. For what, 7 seasons now? It's more than 7 this year, isn't it? Is it 8 or 9? Salah's been here. I'm just trying to do
signed him in 2017.
Signed him in 2017, so it's his 8th season, and in every single season he's been absolutely phenomenal. His worst season is probably his 2nd season. He still gets 20 goals there, and we get 97 points and win the Champions League.
Yeah.
You know, that is insane for his worst season. It's Liverpool's best season, and he's one of our best players. Just absolutely magic, and I think he can go for another few years.
Let's hope so. Just looking at his Premier League campaign, in the first 28 game weeks of the season, leading up to Southampton, his game week 28, there are only 4 occasions where he doesn't get a goal or an assist.
2 of them are Forest.
There is Nottingham Forest in the 1-0 defeat, in the 1-0 victory over Crystal Palace away from home. There is the 1-1 draw with Nottingham Forest and the 2-0 win over Brentford. And that's when, after that, he does have a little bit of a tail off. He doesn't get anything in the derby or Fulham. Gets an assist against West Ham, nothing against Leicester, scores against Tottenham, 3 without, and then scores on the final day of the season against Crystal Palace. To the point, though, in terms of dragging your team getting your team to the dance floor, and in reality, you know, if it's a dance contest, you've basically put all your best moves out there before anyone else has really kind of got their act together. Yeah, Salah's machine-like output there is the reason why Liverpool win the league. Absolutely
silly. A joke. The amount of games where he doesn't just get a goal contribution, but he scores and assists. He broke the record for that. We also need to go back to the first game of the season, where I think he broke the record for the most consecutive seasons where he's got a goal in it, and we know he strives for individual records as well. That's what motivates him, you know. So it's great to see. He got the playmaker, he got obviously the most goals this season, he got player of the year this season, writers player of the year. Like, you could carry on and on and on. A joke. The only disappointing thing for him is that he could have easily got 50 goal contributions there, and you know, if he probably puts one in the back of the net against Brighton, which is on a plate for him, then maybe we're not even talking about the 50 goals, because he's on his own above Shearer and Cole, was it? But yeah, that start of the season, an utter joke. And there was games in those in the first half of the season where he might actually not be playing that good, but it is inevitable that he is going to have a moment of brilliance. And like we said there, his assists, the outside of the foot cross that he's into is glorious. And you look at big games, I mean, Brighton comes to my mind 2-1 instantly. That top bins finish to get us 3 more points. That is a part where you are actually worried that you're in a title race and every point matters. You know, City away at the Etihad, all season he's being told, lad, you don't need to track back at all. That game, it's like he decides, fuck that. This is such an important game, a massive game. I'm putting everything into this. We've talked about how dedicated to the craft he is. He's an utter joke. Like, it is a joke. And the fact that, you know, he might not even be in the Ballon d'Or conversations is mental, because to me, this is the hardest league in the world, the most intense league in the world. And he did unbelievably in it. Champions League, you know, we got knocked out, but ultimately the team we got knocked out to is in the final and you know, has a really good chance of winning it. So yeah, it's unbelievable what he's done.
You mentioned it there, obviously a couple of things there, Chloe. 11 different occasions in the Premier League, Salah scored and assisted in a game of football. And you mentioned the goal against Brighton. You know, we were really up against it in that first half. Brighton could have been out of sight. Instead, he drags us up. It's great football in the build up to it, and he slams that goal home. That's the game where we go back top, and after that we stay top for the rest of the season after that. And in terms of lighting the touch paper, that was one of the things that Salah brought to us. Look, you know, Andy, we can do this forever, you know, wax lyrical, and we probably should, because he deserves it. I said about the Van Dijk thing in the first show that we get used to it, really, and that's a bit sad. You know, I actually think there was a point last season and the start of this season, we've stopped really singing Salah's song. It gets sung, but it doesn't get sung with the level of verve by the back end of this season, by the end of the season, when it's all being confirmed. His contract renewal was announced, and he obviously particularly scores that final goal of the season when we're lifting the trophy. Hearing all 4 sides of Anfield just giving him his flowers was just stunning. Yeah,
I don't think we don't hear his songs. I don't think people sing his song right. People don't get the right amount of las.
I struggle with that
for the actual song, because everyone's desperate to get to the Egyptian King part of it. So I think it doesn't work as well as a football song, to be completely honest, but it's our song from now and it's not going to change, and that's fine. I think next season he's going to be even better, because I think you're going to have a number 9 whose job is to create the space for Salah, and I think he's going to do it more effectively than Jota and Nunez and probably even Diaz. If we've Florian Wirtz in there, he's one of the best players at finding space and dragging players away from the other attackers who score the goals. And if we've got a sort of out-and-out fullback who's getting down the wing, stretching the play a bit more, rather than some wee lad cramping your style playing Hollywood passes all the time, honestly, I think he could go to another level again, and that's terrifying for the rest of the league. Now, he's obviously a year older, and you know there will be a sort of natural decline in that regard, so maybe that will balance itself out. But I'm really excited to see how we play next season with him. The attack is still going to be centred around him, because you don't give somebody 350, 400 grand a week without doing that.
Yeah.
And once again, next season will be all about Salah's numbers and getting the best out of Salah, because getting the best out of Salah gets the best out of the team, like we've said.
Yep.
When you look at the goals that he scored, though, I mean, I mentioned Brighton then, but, you know, he scores against Manchester City at home, obviously. I think he gets a goal and assist in the 2-1 against Chelsea, and at that point, Chelsea are up there neck and neck with us, so that's a massive game. Villa, you know, at Anfield, that's never easy. He gets a goal in that. Spurs away around Christmas time, he gets 2 goals, 2 assists. Like, you can go on. It was West Ham, he took the complete and utter piss on, I think it was the 29th of December or something, but a massive game for me that sticks in my mind is Bournemouth away.
Yes.
Because that game had everything. Like, Liverpool were really close to losing that game of football, if we're being honest, because it had everything. It had the just grittiness of really having the desire to put everything on the line and get out of there with something, but it had the sheer quality of Mo Salah caressing a ball effortlessly into the back of the net and basically just killing the game and saying, like, thanks for coming, lads.
Yeah.
But like, that was a really tough game, and Liverpool hung on for dear life at times, and then Mo Salah, clinical as ever, gets his chance and scores it effortlessly, and this game done. And that for me was a massive game for us.
Yeah.
And like even Everton at at Goodison Park, like the goal he scores, instinctual, in the right place, the ball's landed to him, he gets on the end of it. He had so many moments this season and so many goals that you can put your hat on and say, I mean, of course you can, because he scored how many of them, but like so many big moments, and it felt like the bigger the occasion, the better Mo Salah was.
Yeah, and that bullshit. There's that bullshit thing. Oh, does he do it in the big games? Yeah, he does, and he always has.
Look at who he's got the most goals against from Man United.
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Well, yeah.
There's a great stat. Sorry, after he gets one at Old Trafford this year, doesn't he? Because Diaz gets the other two.
The 2 assists though, does he not?
Yeah, but
the one back post to Diaz for the header, and then the one across the box to Diaz. Yeah.
There was a great stat, which was at the time Manchester United's calendar goals at Old Trafford in 2024, and it was like Bruno Fernandes, Mo Salah, and then like load of United players in 4 and 3.
Yeah. A bucket of water was like 4.
Sorry, it must have been like goals at Old Trafford since 2022 or something, including his hat tricks and stuff. Yeah. But he was like third. It was ridiculous.
Also, sadly, a game that I've completely forgot about, but Newcastle away, because it ended 3-3. If that would have finished 3-2, it is Mo Salah's show, or like, he is the one. I mean, Trent comes on, does well, and I think Dom is all right in that game, but it's Mo Salah with the goals, with the suave, with the just sheer will of putting Liverpool on his back.
29 goals. It's 29 goals in the Premier League, which is to say 6 more than Alex Isak, 7 more than Erling Haaland, 9 more than Brian Mbeumo and Chris Wood. Now, you might make the case with the Haaland stuff is he plays less. So Salah plays 38 games to Haaland's 31 and Isak's 34. But this, again, is the point. It's a 31 to 32-year-old footballer who is able to stay fit and get on the pitch, and particularly because he had his injury struggles last season for the first time. We were worried that he was going to break down, and he's also played more minutes than anyone for Liverpool this season as well, because that's the level that he's at. But in addition to that, just for if you ever hear anyone say anything like that, his goals per 90 is better than Isak and Haaland anyway. So even if you average it out by the minutes that they actually did play, Salah's is 0.77, Isak's is 0.75, and Haaland's is 0.72. So, even if they had played their full contingent of games, there's every chance that Salah still would have outscored. It's
also a case of, like, we've basically done 20 minutes on him here, and yet another game's just popped up into my head at Southampton, 3-2 away from him. Like, the games just have his fingerprints all over for how we won and how important they were. And you look at the season on a whole, and pretty much near every game, aside from the last ember, has Salah's fingerprints all over, dragging us over the line to win the league.
How far is he off in rush?
Is
it
I can tell you
3 or 4 seasons he would have to do at this level? I don't think it's absolutely impossible.
You don't? He said no one's going to top Rush.
So Salah's on 245 and Ian Rush is on 346.
Yeah, no.
So 101 more goals.
Yeah.
So if he plays for 3 more years and scores 35 goals a season, how many does he get this season? 34.
I mean, that is like 33% of his total, or is that quite right?
Yeah. So he's 32 now. He's 32 coming 33. So if he stays for three more seasons, there's 3 more seasons at this level. I know it's a big ask, but it's not impossible.
Stranger
things.
If he stays for that long, it's not impossible that he would be up there. But like, it's 40 goals behind Roger Hunt in number 2, and that's a big ask still, because it's still a lot of goals.
But we all sit here and think he can get that.
If he stays if he does his 2-year contract, then there's no reason why he can't get to Roger Hunt's level. he would have to prove himself the next Ronaldo / Messi in terms of that next stage is, can you play at that level till you're 35, 36, 37?
He keeps himself fit enough. He keeps himself in good enough shape. He doesn't drink. He always comes back the fittest in pre-season.
I agree that I think he has got the most control over that you can possibly have as a human.
But sometimes the body just breaks down.
Things happen in football, don't they? You need an immense amount of luck within that to be in addition to your supreme attitude and fitness. But yeah, listen, I'm excited to see him try.
By the way, I also think his hairdo he suits as well.
Better.
I'm a big fan of what he's done there as well. Winning on and off the field.
It is annoying though how the Salah silhouette isn't quite as striking anymore because the hair was always part of that.
I don't know. I see the wrist tape now on his arm and just know it's him. Okay. Do you know what I mean? The red wrist tape that he loves to put round his hand. Just
lastly on him, similar to with the goals, obviously, as mentioned, he got the most assists this season in the Premier League with 18, which is 6 more than Murphy at Newcastle, 7 more than Anthony Elanga, 8 more than Bruno Fernandes, Morgan Rogers, Bukayo Saka, Mikkel Damsgaard and Anthony Robinson. Twice as many as Son Heung-min, who's another one who was in his cohort, that age range of footballer. And Kevin De Bruyne is now might be heading to Serie A. Son's really a fading power, and look, there's Salah. Yeah. Still absolutely
and it's
supreme.
Scary at the fact that when you think of how many big chances everybody else missed that he put on a plate for them, he could have had a lot more.
Salah created 89 chances this season according to this, which is more than double what the second top assister, Jacob Murphy, it's Jacob Murphy, right? Got. Elanga created 50. Bruno Fernandes created 91 to his credit, but Bruno Fernandes, that's what Bruno Fernandes is.
He's supposed to do.
He is a number 10 creative midfielder. So kind of fair play, but no, stunning footballer. There is no world in which Mohamed Salah isn't getting a clean sweep of 10s here, right?
Yeah.
10?
10. I don't usually give 10s out, but we've just won the league, so I can't really.
What more? And I think the question always is if not 10, why not? Yeah. And what does one have to do to be able to get more than that? And given that at this point, no Premier League player has had a better season than Mo Salah, you can make the case that maybe could he have been better in those PSG games? And yes, I think he was awful, particularly in Paris. I thought he was terrible. He was miles off it. But yeah, all things considered.